Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. I'm your host, Bob Powell. And, I had this hanging over the railing here just a few minutes ago. And I was trying to figure out a way to, get it into the shot. Well, I'll just hold it. It says, give thanks. And people ask, all this stuff going wrong with your life, Bobby, why are you giving thanks? Well, I'm giving thanks for these fresh raspberries and these fresh blueberries with which I'm going to make my wife's favorite breakfast. I give thanks for every day that I get to spend with her. And I give thanks that for 25 years, she stood by my side when other women in their right mind would have run. So I've got a lot to be thankful for. But, one other thing that I have to be thankful for is the fact that for the moment I live in a country where I can say what I want without fear of going to jail, for the most part. We're going to talk about that in this episode of The Truth is Viral. And I'm going to use these homegrown blueberries and raspberries to make my wife an awesome breakfast. So stick around. You're going to enjoy this show. Okay, the secret to my pancakes is really simple, really. Aside from the fresh ingredients like the blueberries and the raspberries, the most important thing that you can do to make awesome pancakes is to fill them with love. That's what I always say. And fresh fruits and vegetables, of course, are essential. Not only are they essential, but they're very tasty too. But you didn't come here today just to watch me cook breakfast. No, we're going to talk today about the First and Second Amendment. In particular, as it has been expressed by Chief Mark Kessler of the Gilberton, Pennsylvania Police Department. Chief Mark Kessler is a brash individual. He minces no words when it comes to telling people how he feels. And in response to people that had threatened to kill him and to decapitate one of his children, he said this:
"Fuck you!"
My family has been the victim of the same type of threats. Watch this video right here, and you'll see threats to burn my children alive in their beds as they sleep. Threats to rape my cancer-stricken wife to death. Gang rape. Threats to murder me in the most imaginative ways. Now, being a libertarian, I have major disagreements with people on the right as well as the left. For instance, I think that George Bush and Dick Cheney ought to be in prison right next to Barack Obama for starting the totally unnecessary Iraq war that cost the lives of thousands of American soldiers and Marines and sailors, and almost 1 million innocent Iraqis. Somebody needs to go to jail behind that, because they never did find these WMDs that they were looking for, because they didn't exist. Saddam Hussein had given them to Bashar al-Assad the same way that he gave his Air Force to Ayatollah Khomeini during the Iran-Iraq War. So, that whole war was just about money. You go to Hijacked USA on bobpowell.blogspot.com, and that's the very first article that I ever wrote after I woke up. And you'll see exactly why I think these neocons belong in jail. But getting to the point of this episode, it is Chief Mark Kessler. Chief Kessler was very vocal in his opposition to those that would like to kill him and his family. Now, the chief was suspended for 30 days by the borough. And the reason given was that he used borough property without permission. The borough property in question was the automatic weapons that the chief used in his videos. Okay, you need to understand that the chief bought those weapons with his own money and donated them to the borough, and in his contract it says that he can use them at any time. So not only is what he did completely legal, it was within policy too. So he did absolutely nothing wrong. The town, however, is buckling to outside pressure. Their insurance company has threatened to drop them if they don't get rid of Chief Kessler. This moron, Michael Morrill, came by on the day that the town was having its meeting with a petition signed by 20,000 people. Now, I read this petition and paid special attention to the people that signed it, allegedly. For a town of, 800 people, where are these 20,000 coming from? Well, they're coming from Arizona, they're coming from California, they're coming from Washington State. They're coming from all over the country, everywhere except from Gilberton, Pennsylvania. The people of Gilberton support their police chief, brash and loudmouth that he is. They understand that he hasn't done anything wrong, and they trust the man to keep on providing them protection. But these outsiders are coming into town, stirring up trouble, lying about what was going on at that town. Russia Today said that the chief is the scariest police chief in the country, and that the town was under siege. He'd taken power by force of arms. Well, that's just a lie. One thing that said, or one article said that there were armed men preventing people from coming into the town hall. Well, if you watch those videos, there's room in that town hall. It's actually a waste treatment facility from the sign outside for about 10 people. And with these liberal scumbags coming in from outside of town, the threat of it anyway, somebody needed to provide security. So the chief had his constitutional security force do just that. Nobody was denied admission into that room that needed to be there. Only people that didn't have any reason to be there in the first place were denied admission. So, that whole garbage about the town being under siege is just that. It's garbage. So, now we have come to the part where everybody has to admit that I'm right. Chief did nothing wrong. He exercised his First Amendment right to say what he wanted. He exercised his Second Amendment right to fire off a bunch of rounds into the dirt. It wasn't even against the policy of the borough. Those are the facts on the ground. But as a result of the chief exercising his First and Second Amendment rights, he's been vilified, demonized. Groups like Oath Keepers and the Constitutional Sheriff and Police Officers Association have distanced themselves from what the chief said. Well, I read Stewart Rhodes' commentary on Adam Kokesh and his plans and how that dovetailed into Chief Kessler. And he's got a point. We don't need people going to Washington, D.C. armed. Okay? Like Lexington and Concord, we need to make them come to us. That way there will be no doubt in the eyes of anybody around the world who the aggressor is and who is simply standing up for their rights. So I agree with Mr. Rhodes on that. He says that Oath Keepers is preparing the battle space for what's to come. And I believe that that's a good mission. I believe that's an appropriate use of intellect and resources. However, there's something else that Stewart Rhodes isn't thinking about. When you dig in, preparing for an attack, you don't just fill up sandbags. Okay, you send out recon patrols to delay and harass and probe the enemy. We can't just sit back and just wait for them to attack. We have to be proactive. We have to go to Congress. We have to reach out to members of the active duty military, which Oath Keepers is doing a tremendous job at doing, buying the billboards outside of military bases with various messages on them. I truly do support that 100%. But we need to be more proactive. We need to go to Congress. We need to turn individual congressmen from the dark side as part of preparing the battle space. Because the more we can do, the more minds we can change, the fewer congressmen or active duty military there will be who will allow, follow, or issue orders to kill American citizens or to detain them and put them into FEMA camps. Like the National Defense Authorization Act says, you know, the military can now arrest any person and detain them indefinitely without benefit of a lawyer. They can even send them overseas where they would undoubtedly be tortured. Now, in this past year, the people of Michigan have made their voices clear through their state level representatives and senators who voted unanimously. There were no abstentions, no presence, no dissent of any kind. They voted unanimously, both the House and the Senate, to nullify the indefinite detention provision of the National Defense Authorization Act. No employee of the state of Michigan can assist the federal government in kidnapping an American citizen without a charge and a warrant that has been signed by a judge. So we need to impress upon our national level legislators the same thing, because 23 other states have nullified the National Defense Authorization Act too. So we need to impress upon our legislators that the people do not want this. They didn't even read it before they signed it into law. much like they don't read anything. So, yeah, we need to be more proactive. And we need to come together. My friend Pete Santilli over at the Guerrilla Media Network is kind of upset at Stewart Rhodes and Sheriff Mack and the lack of support that they've been giving to Chief Kessler. I would like to remind those gentlemen, Sheriff Mack and Stewart Rhodes, who their supporters are. They're not all Yale-educated lawyers. Part of the 3%. They're ordinary, blue-collar men and women that like to drink beer, raise hell, and yes, I imagine they cuss from time to time. That's who your membership is, Colonel Rhodes. Now, we need people from all walks of life to stand up against tyranny. We need people like Colonel Rhodes. We definitely need law enforcement from the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association to join us in this fight. And we need ordinary, everyday, Pabst Blue Ribbon swilling, truck driving, shotgun toting, Bible believing, red-blooded American Christians and red-blooded American Jews and red-blooded American Muslims. Anybody that believes in the Constitution and the guarantees in it that all men are created equal. Because it's not just Christians that are going to be suffering under a tyranny that's coming. It's everybody. Atheists as well. I mean, come on. The devil is a liar. He may promise you this or promise you that, but in the end, you're going to burn. And it's going to take the efforts of everybody. Yale lawyers to adequately represent us in front of the other lawyers in Congress, people that they will take seriously, and in the streets. We need the 3%. We all need to stand together as one. So as long as Chief Kessler or anybody else remains within the law, I fully support their right to express themselves in any way that they see fit. And Colonel Rhodes and Sheriff Mack, I would urge you to support Chief Kessler's right to say whatever he wants. You may not agree with it, but it is exactly that kind of speech that must be protected. Do you remember Skokie? The Klan wanted to no, not the Klan, but neo-Nazis wanted to have a march through Skokie, which had a 40% Jewish population, and a good number of those people were Holocaust survivors. Well, as offensive as Nazi speech is, even the ACLU came to bat for them. And with good reason. Because you can see how the definition of domestic terrorist, is being twisted to include veterans returning home from war, pro-lifers, Ron Paul supporters. We are the enemy now. It's going to make it very easy for them to censor our speech. Today it's Mark Kessler. Tomorrow, Colonel Rhodes, it's going to be you. Unless you stand up and support this man. You've got a tremendous organization in place. I consider myself an oath keeper, even though I've never had the $35 to send in to get my bumper sticker. But I completely agree with the mission of the organization. So you've got a great organization in place. And if you were to mobilize that organization in support of Chief Kessler's right to express himself in whatever way he sees fit, then we can push back against these liberal scumbags. We must push back against these liberal scumbags because, like I said, today it's Chief Mark Kessler, tomorrow it's you or me. Because the definition of a domestic terrorist keeps on changing. I'm sure that I'm on the president's list. And to tell you the truth, I consider it a badge of honor. Because he's nothing but a liar, a traitor, and a murderer. And according to James Madison, who wrote that when all the powers of the legislative, executive, and judicial branches come together in the hands of one man, that's the very definition of a tyranny. So you can add tyrant to the list too. A good friend of mine emailed me this morning and asked me, when are we going to get our country back? And I told her, dear, when Barack Obama put pen to paper and ordered the murder of an American citizen without ever charging him with a crime in a court of law, the republic fell. And keeping prophecy in mind, I don't believe that we will ever experience the type of freedom that she and I grew up with. The Republic of the United States is dead. All we can do now is mitigate the damage from what's to come. There's a reason that the Department of Homeland Security has bought over 2 billion rounds of ammunition, enough to fight an Iraq intensity conflict in the United States for the next 30 years. They are coming after us. We can't change that. But by waking people up, by exercising our First Amendment right to be loud and grab attention, we can save some lives. That is the entire mission of this show, to save lives and win souls for Jesus Christ. Now, you may not agree with the last part, but I find it funny that the Department of Homeland Security would classify Christians as domestic terrorists. And it's not funny, haha, it's funny, ironic, because the Bible tells us, at least it tells me, that thou shalt not murder. Self-defense is another thing. But if you are really a Christian, taking somebody's life is the last thing you want to do. Even in justifiable self-defense, I can't imagine something more horrible than taking somebody else's life. Why do you think that the suicide rate among police officers and returning military veterans is so high? The human brain, our souls, are not wired to accept killing other people. Even if they're trying to kill you, it weighs heavily on the soul. Something I pray I'll never have to go through. It makes me cringe every time I see somebody on the internet saying, "Bring it on." Well, they have no idea what they're asking for. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. I may not be successful, but at least I'll be able to stand in front of my Father and say, "Lord, I did what I could. I saved as many as I could." And you need to join me in this effort, okay? Share my videos everywhere that you go. Put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on LinkedIn or Pinterest. Whatever you do, send up smoke signals, I don't care. Yell it from the rooftops, that's what I intend to do if I have to. I'll walk up and down the street with a sandwich board, ringing a bell, like my friend Tim here. He's got an interesting story to tell. If you want to click that, you'll find out how I feel about medical marijuana and other subjects of note. If the link's not working yet, well, it will be soon. But anyway, join with me. Send the show through email to all of your contacts. You got to stop being afraid that they're going to think that you are a tinfoil hat wearing weirdo. Okay, the time for all of that is over. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a lot of trouble. The tribulation is beginning, and there is no getting out of it. We have to do what we can do right now if we are going to save lives. I'm doing whatever I can as one man, but I need your help. Now, in addition to sharing the show, I need your prayers because my family is under demonic attack. Now, not the Amityville horror type, but since I started this show, started telling the truth, my daughter's died. My wife's got cancer. Just found out last week my mother has the same type of cancer. I've got 2 grandchildren on the way, one of whom I'm going to be raising due to circumstances I'm not going to talk about right now. But we need your help, especially in the form of your prayers. I need you to form a barrier of love between me and the devil, between my family and the devil. Even the evil people out there that want to see us dead. I need you to ask Father to provide protection for us. since I started doing this show and reported that I had made $200 a month in income, they took away $600 a month in benefits and my Medicaid. So we really are hurting for money. I can imagine any time now they'll even take away that last little bit of Social Security disability. They'll say, well, I don't see you having any problem getting around. Well, they don't see me most of the day with my legs up on the couch because I can't move. But, if you have the ability, please go to bobpowell.blogspot.com and hit the PayPal button so that I can keep this show on the air. It does cost money. Printer cartridges, phone bills, Skype subscriptions, things that I need to keep this business running. And it is a business, even though I'm not making any money out of it. Still got to pay taxes, all that 9 yards. So anything that you can do would be greatly appreciated. $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $25, a one-time gift. It's not tax deductible, and it will probably go towards keeping our lights on. Like I said, I'm doing all I can. I've given all I can. I've hocked my truck, sold everything that I have that's of value so that I can keep this show on the air. Because this really is the most important thing that I have ever done with my life. Matter of fact, just this morning, my mom told me that she was proud of me. I've been waiting for 50 years to hear that. So I am happy. And that's another thing that I'm thankful for. Oh, can't forget strawberries. I got one special strawberry for my baby. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. Doot. Okay, breakfast is served. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. I'm your host, Bob Powell. And until next time, as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah. Oh, I'm sure a lot of you have been straining to see what that says. It says, use a dish, wash that dish. Cook with a dish, wash that dish. My wife always told me that I should be a teacher. Maybe I should have taught my kids how to read. I'll see y'all later.